It was just another cold, rainy morning in Maplewood, a small town where dreams often froze before they ever took flight. Sarah Miller, a single mom of two, stood in line at the local coffee shop, her coat soaked, her hair sticking to her face. She wasn't there for herself, she just needed 5 quiet minutes before rushing to her second job. The line moved slowly, and she sighed, thinking about the bills piled on her counter and the rent reminder stuck to her fridge. Behind her stood a tall man in a worn-out hoodie, clutching a handful of coins. He looked exhausted, maybe even homeless, but there was something calm about his eyes, like someone who'd seen storms far worse than this one. When he reached the counter, he realized he didn't have enough for his coffee. He gave an awkward smile and stepped aside. Without thinking twice, Sarah said, "Put his coffee on my tab." The man turned, surprised. "You don't have to," he began. Sarah smiled softly. "It's okay, everyone deserves a warm start to the day." He looked at her with gratitude that words couldn't hold. "Thank you, broken bar, you don't know how much this means." She shrugged it off, paid for both coffees, and left, never expecting to see him again. It was just kindness, as something her late mother had taught her never to forget, no matter how hard life became. That night, after tucking her kids into bed, Sarah sat by the window, worrying about the electric bill. Her son's asthma inhaler was running out, and her car had broken down last week. Life felt like it was constantly pushing her 1 inch from breaking. She whispered to herself, "God, please see broken bar, just give me one break." The next morning, the sound of blades cutting the sky jolted the neighborhood awake. Windows rattled, dogs barked, and neighbors rushed outside. Sarah thought it was an emergency until she realized the helicopter was landing in her front yard. Panicked, she ran outside in her pajamas, shielding her eyes from the wind. The helicopter's door opened, and stepping out was the same man from the coffee shop, but this time, he wasn't in a hoodie. He wore a clean, crisp uniform with insignias that gleamed under the morning sun. Soldiers and security personnel followed him. The crowd gasped. The man walked up to her with a warm smile. "Good morning, Miss Miller. I owe you more than a coffee." Sarah blinked in disbelief. "What a broken bar, what is this?" He extended his hand. "I'm Lieutenant Colonel James Carter. I just returned from an undercover humanitarian mission. Yesterday, I stopped at that cafe till the copyright on my way to meet the transport team before heading to the base. Your kindness reminded me what I was fighting for." Sarah's mind spun. "You mean a broken bar, you weary?" He nodded. "Yes, I wasn't exactly broke, but I'd lost something, that dire faith in people. And you, a stranger, rushed toward it." He motioned toward the helicopter. "I found out about your situation, Miss Miller. You've been working 2 jobs, supporting 2 kids alone since your husband passed. That's strength. That's the kind of courage the world needs to see." Sarah felt her knees weaken. "How broken bar, how do you know all this?" He smiled gently. "When you paid for that coffee, someone paid attention. My team and I looked into the kind of person you are, not to invade your privacy, but because I wanted to help the woman who helped me when she didn't have to." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a letter and a check. Her eyes widened. "This can't be real, a broken bar. It's a grant," he explained. "A fund we started for families like yours, so those who never stop giving even when they have nothing left to give. Consider this your new start." Tears welled in her eyes. Her children peeked out from the doorway, watching their mother cry for the first time, not from pain but from pure disbelief. "But why me?" she whispered. "Because kindness like yours saves lives, even when you don't see it," James said softly. "You gave me hope. Now it's my turn." The helicopter blades began to spin again, and he saluted her before boarding. The neighbors clapped, phones recording the surreal moment. Sarah stood there, holding the letter to her chest as tears rolled down her face. Later that week, the local news aired the story: a single mom's coffee kindness changes her life forever. Donations poured in. The cafe till the copyright even renamed her favorite drink Sarah's Hope Latte. Her kids were able to start school with new clothes. Her car got fixed, and she finally quit one of her exhausting jobs to spend more time with them. Months later, another helicopter returned, this time with an invitation. "The president wants to meet you." The note read, "Your story is inspiring the nation." Standing at the White House lawn, she met James again. He smiled proudly. "You taught us all something, Sarah that the smallest act of kindness can echo louder than any speech or battle. As cameras flashed and the anthem played, Sarah looked at her kids and whispered, "See, 1 cup of coffee, a broken bar, and a little bit of faith." And that's when she looked into the camera, tears glimmering in her eyes, and said softly, "If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like this video and subscribe." Not for me, but for every person out there who still believes kindness can change the world. Because sometimes, miracles don't start with money, fame, or power. They start with a $5 coffee and a heart brave enough to care.